Las Vegas Raiders Chandler Jones has missed his third straight day in a row at practice, and he has done this along with Clelin Ferrell. So this creates an interesting situation for the Raiders edge rushers and what could happen to this defensive line before the preseason game and even before week 1 of the regular season. Keep in mind, Bilal, Nichols, and Johnathan Hankins, the defensive tackles who are in line to be starters this year, have still not practiced once during training camp. My name is WiFiWillie of the Raiders Rundown. We're going to get into all of this and who could possibly replace these players, along with some crazy, interesting beef between Chandler Jones and Kyler Murray that may have slipped through the cracks for some Raiders fans. Hey, like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Raiders Rundown for more Raiders content. So, Tashawn Reed of The Athletic is reporting here that Chandler Jones is missing practice today, and this is on Sunday after the monsoon has happened. You know, it's a popular practice now because of that, but we are just really 4 days away for the first game, the Hall of Fame game, the game that I will be live during. I will be live during the first Hall of Fame game with my co-host Hotspot Audrey, so make sure you turn on notifications so you do not miss the live reaction. It's going to be a blast this Thursday. Either way, Darren Waller, Chandler Jones, Clelin Ferrell, Darius Phillips, the cornerback, along with Amik Robertson, Rocky Sen, Anthony Averett, and Roderick Team are all not at practice today, or just haven't seen them. They could be working inside the facility, maybe rehabbing, who knows. A lot of these names are new besides Clelin Ferrell and Chandler Jones and Roderick Teamer. These names have been on this list for some times. Tashawn Reed of The Athletic is noting that this is Jones' third straight missed practice, and along with Clelin Ferrell. Remember last week, Clelin Ferrell actually left practice early with an undisclosed injury. I've been telling you guys that the team officially does not actually have to report what the injuries are. So when you get Josh McDaniels at the press conference, he's not going to say much about what's happening with the injury. He's just going to give you some empty platitudes, and that's smart because you don't want to give up your hand, and you don't want other coaches to know what you're doing and know what the depth is looking like for your team. But as us Raiders fans who really care about the future of this team, we know there's a problem with this outside linebacker depth. We know that Kyler Fackrell just went on IR, and he was in line to be the backup behind Chandler Jones or Max Crosby at that edge outside linebacker position. And now with Fackrell out, Ferrell not doing some reps, Chandler Jones not doing reps, who's really outside for the outside linebacker position? And keep in mind, like we just said earlier, Hankins and Bilal Nichols have been on the PUP list since the beginning of camp. Trayvon Mullen, Bilal Nichols, and Johnathan Hankins have not practiced once during training camp. And the defensive tackle position, this actually creates an interesting scenario because we're relying a lot on Bilal Nichols. We paid him a ton of money for who we have at defensive tackle. I believe he has almost $6 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. Kendall Vickers has been emerging as someone who could possibly pop for the Las Vegas Raiders. This guy has been in and off the practice squad. You're kind of wondering, what is the future for Kendall Vickers? Can he finally make a splash here? He's almost like the Lester Cotton Sr. equivalent, but on the defensive line in a lot of ways. But Kendall Vickers has played a lot more than Lester Cotton. But this is a pretty good opportunity for him, and especially if he can make some splash plays in preseason, and maybe, who knows, maybe it's taking some more time for Bilal Nichols to get back. He could really see himself, squeezing in and possibly starting if Bilal Nichols is missing some time. And along with Matthew Butler, he could also perhaps start. I mean, this guy was drafted out of Tennessee, considered a sleeper by people like Louis Riddick, and that's a pretty good analyst to pay attention to. So you can't sleep on Matthew Butler. Yes, it's going to be tough for a rookie, tough for another rookie like Neil Farrell Jr. out of LSU. Nose tackle maybe could compete and fill the void for somebody like Johnathan Hankins, since he's more of a nose tackle. And we drafted him, kind of high up, not really high up, but after Max Crosby, after Hunter Renfrow, it's not too crazy to find a starter in the 4th round, right? For the Raiders. It's happened with us recently. Why can't it happen this time? And then you got Kyle Pecco, a former Bronco, and along with Andrew Billings, who spoke at the press conference today. Andrew Billings drafted in 2016 by the Bengals in the 4th round. So he's another 4th round pick who could maybe pop. And he's a veteran. He has some experience in the NFL, and I believe he can maybe fill that role with that nose tackle position, since he is about 325 pounds. So, however, I don't know who's necessarily going to start here. You got Vernon Butler in the mix as well. But one of these guys is going to have to step up if Hankins and Bilal Nichols can't make it to the field. And this is really tricky, and this really sucks because when you think about it, when you think about this Raiders team, what was considered the strength of this defense? You have, yes, Denzel Perryman's a Pro Bowl linebacker, but we knew cornerback could be a problem. There's not a clear number one guy there. There's not that dude who's immediately, he's the number one stud Pro Bowl coverage corner. This side of the field shut off. We don't really have a guy like that at cornerback. So the defensive line was considered the strength of this team. We have Chandler Jones, right? Max Crosby, Pro Bowler. And then you got obviously some good depth with Bilal, Nichols, and Johnathan Hankins. But that is changing right now. And even Clelin Ferrell. I mean, yes, Ferrell, he hasn't been perfect, but he gives you great depth at the edge position. He really does. I mean, if you know that somebody of his caliber can fill in case something happens to Jones, in case something happens to Crosby, that's a lot better of a position to be in than most teams. Most teams don't have that kind of depth at edge rusher. I know Clelin Ferrell didn't live up to the hype, blah, blah. Still a good player in my opinion, and that's why it's going to be rough if he's not around. Yes, we still have Crosby. Who's going to step up? Obviously, Malcolm Kuntz has an opportunity, being drafted in the 3rd round of 2021 out of Buffalo, the same college as Khalil Mack. Let's live up to the Khalil Mack hype. Malcolm Kuntz hasn't played much, but did at least play in the regular season a little bit last year, had 48 total snaps, was able to get 2 sacks in those 48 total snaps by Malcolm Kuntz. Yes, I know sacks aren't everything. I know it's also pressures. He had 4 pressures as well, but that's still impressive. That's something to build off of. The 6'3", 250-pounder. Maybe he could be the outside linebacker filling in case these guys aren't ready, and he's probably going to play in preseason. I mean, he's probably going to play, and I believe along with Deshaun Bauer, former New England Patriot, who was signed by Dave Ziegler a little bit after the draft. I remember it was kind of an interesting signing there. Minnesota for 2 years as an undrafted free agent in 2017, but spent some time in New England in 2021 and 2020 while Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels were there. 6'5", 250 pounds, a little bit taller than Malcolm Kuntz, but about the same weight. And hopefully this guy could maybe make a splash for the Raiders if need be. Only 1 sack last year, but if need be, that's a good opportunity. And Gary Green, he is somebody who has sort of been floating on this roster for some time. I mean, he was with the Indianapolis Colts in 2019, but you've seen him around 2021 with the Raiders and a little bit in 2020. This guy has always sort of been around, right? But you haven't really seen him ever touch the field in the regular season, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe this could be an opportunity for him as well. When you see people like Lester Cotton Sr., make do on these opportunities, it interests you. It excites you, and it makes you think, hey, I mean, anything's possible if you really start working hard. And it does suck that these injuries happen to some players, but it does sort of create an opportunity for other people. And who knows, maybe some of these players excel. This is going to be the Hall of Fame game, preseason first game nationally. The whole world's going to be watching this preseason game. So if you're a guy who's on a 1-year contract with the Raiders and you're going to play in this preseason game, even if maybe you're under somebody like Bilal Nichols, who when he's healthy, he's going to return and take over for you. Well, if you're in that position, you have the audience of the whole world in front of you, and you could perhaps capitalize on this and get signed somewhere else. Even if you're a practice squad guy, you can get plucked. We know we got to cut down in that 53-man roster. Obviously, somebody like Johnathan Hankins and Bilal Nichols are going to be in a better position than you to make that 53-man roster, but you got the whole world watching you right now, and you can take advantage of this opportunity and probably get a deal somewhere. Like this year. I mean, that's how this game works. People are going to be watching that game. A lot of scouts, a lot of people. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm really excited about this. And one thing in particular that I'm excited about is I will be live on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to make this a regular thing, so come by this Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be going live. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss that, and you don't miss us live during the preseason game. We're going to have tons of fun during that as well. So Chandler Jones had some beef with Kyler Murray in January 2022. Obviously, we knew this would come to an end based on this beef, but it is actually really hilarious, really interesting, something that I did not know happened. And this is funny coming after the fact that we have learned that Kyler Murray doesn't watch film. Kyler Murray straight up, it is in his contract. The Arizona Cardinals put it in his new deal that he has to watch 4 hours of film every day. Obviously, they put that crap in there because he doesn't do it, or else they wouldn't have put it in there. That's just straight up facts. All right, so either way, This is Chandler Jones upset about with Kyler Murray because he didn't follow him back on Twitter. And that's actually kind of crazy to think about. I mean, imagine if Derek Carr did this.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you brought up Kyler and social media because I think yesterday I just unfollowed him on Twitter. I had asked him to follow me back like a while ago, and he didn't follow me back, so I just unfollowed him yesterday. Yeah, it's actually funny that...
So there you go. And this is a New York Post article. You could check it out as well. Chandler Jones, this is in January 2022. This is literally like 6 months ago. So I'm really glad we play the Cardinals this year because I really want to see Chandler Jones straight rock an immature Kyler Murray because you got somebody there who is really an all-time great with the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, he started in New England, but Chandler Jones was a staple of the Arizona Cardinals. He's a captain and a leader on that team. Yes, he's on our team now, but to have this young quarterback come in and not even follow the guy back on Twitter, and then he asks you to do it, and you don't do it, it just shows you're immature. Because at the very least, you can just follow him, and maybe you don't like something he posts. I don't know. Chandler Jones just posts positive things all the time. I don't know why you wouldn't like what this guy posts, but you can mute the guy, right? You got to be professional, and you have to be a leader and be cool with everybody. I mean, look at Derek Carr. He is cool with He's cool with Hunter Renfrow, and he's cool with Netway. I mean, that's how he handles this team. All the different characters. You got to be the leader. You got to be like a coach if you're going to be a quarterback. And to see him to kind of shun Chandler Jones, somebody who's a captain like this, I don't understand it. I think it's immature. I think it's nuts. And what I mean, is there a real reason? Maybe somebody ought to have, and they probably didn't because all the Arizona Cardinals beat reporters are too scared to lose cachet with Kyler Murray. But somebody had to ask Kyler Murray, why the hell aren't you following Chandler Jones at captain? And this sounds like it's been going on for some time. So whatever, glad that Chandler Jones is a Raider now, and now we are playing the NFC West. Let's go whoop Kyler Murray's ass. That's what I'm saying. And hopefully Chandler Jones, where is Chandler Jones? We got to find this guy. Gone for 3 days. Clelin Ferrell, we want this guy back as well. Britton Brown, we haven't seen him out there since he took a big hit in practice. Hopefully this guy can play in the preseason game. We need some backs to get some reps. I know we got a couple of undrafted free agents that we signed as well, but it would be nice to see Britton Brown out there. It really would. And I will say, I am pretty positive based on what Josh McDaniels has said. It does seem like Zamir White is going to make his premiere this Thursday if he's healthy. So check out that. Hey, my name is WiFiWillie. Like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Raiders Rundown for more Raiders content. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.